Okay, so got the device all set up. The joystick was resoldered successfully and hooked up, and then got all the connections made. I had to attach two breadboards together. Breadboards have these little holes on one side and pins on the other, so they hook up. And definitely ran out of room, but they fit nicely on the PCB. So we got this little flip switch in here with next to the buttons. Then the slider. I have a little plastic cap for that somewhere around here. Then a twisting knob. Kind of hard to work with here, but the PCB design, as we saw, is set up for the hand. But this will work for testing all the pieces and make sure that they're going to work as expected before hitting order on the PCB. And to connect them, well, a switch hooks up a lot like the buttons. We have voltage coming in to one pin, then one pin is just floating, and then the middle pin has a parallel a pull down resistor back to ground or something going over to an analog read. And these are all potentiometers, so they hook up just like the joysticks, where there's a sort of a power line and a ground line, and then we just run something in the middle that moves back and forth between those two to adjust how much voltage is there. So all four of these are potentiometers. They hook up the same way: a power line and a ground line, and then in between we bring a signal back. A joystick. Well, I guess I should say what six of these, because joysticks have two potentiometers: up, down, left, right. So two potentiometers, and then one twisting potentiometer, one sliding potentiometer. And I think combining these along with a switch and then the buttons like we saw earlier, we can find lots of combinations between these things to get lots of control over our games. So let's go give this a test now. Okay, so here's the result of adding these things in. I think I'm past the point that calling things by one letter names will still be possible to keep track of them. So it, when I get back over and move this back over to C++ thing, I'm going to give it good names. And here, instead of like BTNA, I'll actually spell out button A or flip switch. Or as we walk through here, the first one here, twist, which when I get over to C++ code, which we've already seen, so I'm just going to write that and then look at the result of it in a moment. I'll call that twist potentiometer or twist knob or something. So I have that mapped to go from 0 to 100% as a knob twist. And the next one down, slide 1 and slide 2. Well, those are typically used in audio things where we want stereo, right? We want a left and right speaker. So we have two, they're set up with two outputs, but they're identical. But I just went ahead and hooked both of them up. Then let's see what's next. X and Y axis. So the X and Y axis are still like they were. Nothing's really changed there except when I get back over to C++. Like I said, I think I'm past the point that I'll be able to keep track of one letter names there. So I'm going to spell things out, make it easier to spot. Then the U and V axis behaves the same as the X and Y. It was just copy and paste to get that. And then let's say to put in a flip switch, which makes it nice because that gives us a way to double our controls, right? We can set the button A, B, C, and D do one thing if the flip switch is a 1, and A, B, C, and D do different things if flip switch is a 0. Or maybe the slider, divide that up into 3 ranges, and in one range, and then each of these buttons do different things. But we have lots of ways we can combine those, but that's for the coding up later. The functions there in A, B, and C, D still work the same. So button A, button B, button C, and button D. So I'm going to go through and update the code. Well, a copy of the code because the original one worked, so I don't want to lose that. So I'm going to make a copy of it and update it, and I think I'm going to give things better names here. But you can see it's just more of the same thing. Our pins are still integers. Everything's still an input. mapping our analog reads into a percentage, more of a percentage thing, and just a digital read on the Boolean controls. So same thing we've seen. I'm going to move this over to a copy of the code and clean up the names, make it easier to follow. And again, I want to do this as a C++ object and then have a virtual object representing our physical controller. And I'm going to add this into the protocol. And when I finish testing the protocol for this, since I won't be filming cleaning up the code here, I'm going to copy that protocol over to the C++. And then the only thing in the loop is going to be like if serial.available, then grab the string and retrieve or something. So that everything about the controller is in that C++ virtual version of the physical controller and sticks with that. So I'm going to get to clean up the code, and yeah, then that circuit we just looked at should be here in a couple days. So while we wait on that, I think we're ready to start doing some stuff on the PC to receive these signals. So we'll be back in the next video to cover that.